Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy. Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness, doing what they love and living the good life? So get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey everybody, Charles here, and welcome to another great show. Now listen, what are you doing for your business? Are you doing an online business? Are you doing strategy business? Are you even doing a business? What are you doing to make that extra money? Listen, look at the world we're living in right now. Things are happening. We need extra income. And we need to talk about some other things right now. And I got the man for you. I call him Coach. You're going to call him Coach at the end of the day. Coach John.
How we doing, man? I love both those intros, man. I was grooving to the jam and then, yeah. So that's a great way to set the energy for the show.
There you go. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Excited to be here. So,
all right. And I see you're coming in from Italy. Is that Italy in the background?
It is Venice in the background. But if you look real closely, it's I'm actually coming in from Alberta, Canada.
I love it. Love it. So I'm gonna get some people upset right off the bat. Which hockey team do you go for?
These days it's actually the Calgary Flames. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's Canadian hockey team. I grew up as a Vancouver Canucks fan because I grew up in Vancouver, but they've been a perennial disappointment. And so, I mean, I'll still cheer for them, but I really thought Calgary was going to do a little bit better than they did this year. So,
okay. we're here in Toronto, Canada, so all my Maple Leaf fans just went, oh.
Oh man, I would have liked to see Toronto do all right as well. You know, like honestly, at this point, I'm like any Canadian team that can go far. You know, I was like, all right, cool. If Edmonton beats Calgary, cool, let's go Edmonton. But I mean, Colorado was just like going to be unstoppable. So.
Yeah, I know. We can only hope and pray for next year, but that's why they need coaching. That's why they need you, my friend. You know, if they coach them a little better, then maybe they have won. Or maybe that's not the type of coaching you do. Tell everybody what type of coaching you do.
So I say that I marry the science of metabolism with the psychology of behavior change and the compassion of human connection, which is quite a mouthful in and of itself. But it's about the best way I can explain what I do. I say that nutrition coaching is like the cover story and like weight loss is the proxy goal. But really we're going to help people uncover why they do what they do. So I call it living in the gap. And that's the gap between knowing and doing. So many people are frustrated by this. I know what to do, but I can't seem to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if information was a problem, Google would have solved all our problems. Turns out it's a human problem. And This is where coaching comes in. So we do best when we're connected to another trusted human being that creates a space for us to be vulnerable. That's where, because in order to create change, we have to become vulnerable and be a little bit insecure. So when we're connected to a safe human being, that's what makes it possible.
Gotcha. Okay. So now let's do some background then. I know you say, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Vancouver. It was actually quite a crazy story. I was born at 26 weeks at home in a trailer park.
Okay.
Good start.
So that's been interesting growing up. So growing up at the little Coach John.
Yeah.
What would you dream about doing? Was it, playing hockey in the NHL? What were your dreams?
Well, it was actually, I wanted to be a basketball player, which I was. And I wanted to be a baker. I really liked baking when I was a kid. And so, but it shifted many times over. I went to university originally studying music, and then I got into chemistry, math, and physics because I wasn't going to make any money in music. And I thought, well, maybe if I'm going to be a teacher, I'll pick like the hard subjects so it won't be hard to find employment. And but then, after a couple of years of that, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So then I jumped into the Navy, took up marine engineering, and did that for about 6 years before I got tired of kind of the politics of the military and just being gone all the time. So came home to my wife, who's from Australia, and said, why don't we travel the world and teach English? So we spent 3 years doing that before coming back and getting into the power line trade. So building poles and towers for electrical utilities. got injured, was forced out of that, went into what we call the oil patch, which is operating equipment in support of oil drilling services. And then ran a nutrition and supplement store before ultimately becoming an online nutrition coach and now teaching people how to build online businesses as well.
Well, and that's very interesting because you got into the field first and you realized, wait a minute, not only can I get into the field, I can help other people get into the online business. And I think in the beginning of my show, that's what I said, where's your other money coming from? And the number one word that I love, and let's get into it, is called residuals. Online money, like when you
side hustle, even
when you just sleep, money's coming in, and that's what you need to know from around the world, because someone's awake and someone's sleeping 24 hours around the world. So are you looking at your online business? Are you getting any traffic? Let's dive into that. Let's talk about what an online business really means.
Yeah, in my case, I focus primarily on building a coaching business. So how do you offer your services to other people? And the way that I think about building a business, because if people are starting, like, how do I start from the ground up? Well, in order to help somebody, because even the internet is a medium. So the internet is a medium between two human beings. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. And I am fully digital, fully online, but I try to make the experience as human as possible when I work with people. And that's what creates great word of mouth, great referrals, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, but you have to have an offer. I'm going to help you. Here's how I'm going to help you solve a problem. Help you get from point A to point B. That's really the first thing you need. Once you have that and you know who you're talking to, then you can start building out your offer. And so that's when you get into building out, what does the digital infrastructure look like for your business? And then you can create client experience. So then how do you go from, I'll get you from point A to point B. That's your promise. How do you actually deliver on that? And then how do you create an experience that gets people telling other people about it? So I always tell my clients in the nutrition coaching side, I want to do such a good job working with you that you were excited to tell other people about what we do.
All right. So let's backtrack for something. You said something that's very important. You said the offer, because if people are not interested, if you're not giving them something they need, then there's no reason to call you or to go online with you. So you got to find that offer, that niche for somebody to pull it in. And how did you find your offer? How did you know that the nutrition was your go-to?
Well, partly because of my own story. And so when we think of it from a marketing perspective, human beings, we communicate through stories. And I think this gets missed very often. And when we can create story-based content, people read that and they read themselves into your story and go, I think this person is the person to help me because they're going to understand me. They have some experience similar to what I've experienced. And so when we use story-based content, but I also teach a concept I call start, learn, evolve. So we could sit here and we could try to get the perfect thing sorted out, the perfect offer, but nothing happens if we stand still staring at the sunset, right? We got to move forward. And then as you get feedback from your audience, from your market, then you start to make adjustments. One of the best things I ever did was very early on, I set up where every 4 weeks, I ask my clients to give me feedback. How am I doing as a coach? How's my business doing? I want to know these things because I want to know how I can make my offer better. But if you try to make it perfect before you start, you're never going to get off the ground.
Absolutely, because I've been in radio for years, and it took me over a year just to start my podcast.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why am I hesitant? Why am I, trying to making it too perfect, trying to make it like the ultimate thing? You know what I mean? So.
Isn't it a quote something like perfection is the enemy of progress?
Trust me, it was on my end. I had to make sure I had the right mic, had to make sure I had the right program, switch programs about 30 times. No, I don't want to use that system. Okay, I'll use this system. No, that system is better. Oh, look, this system gives you this. And I flip-flop from system to system. So tell everybody, how do you not panic? Like, how do you go with this program and go, stick with it? You liked it in the beginning. Use everything it has to offer before you just jump all willy-nilly to another system.
Well, it's funny because I study human behavior and I see parallels in the business world and in the nutrition coaching world, really, because the underlying driver of these behaviors is our brain and sort of the impulsiveness of it. So we've been kind of conditioned to expect instant results because we have a degree of instant gratification coming from, let's say, Google or social media or things like that. I can post something, I can get some reactions fairly quickly. But to build a meaningful, sustainable business takes time. And so you really have to work on that part of your mindset. Just in the same way, like losing weight and getting healthy. Yeah, I could tie you to a tree and starve you, but as soon as we untie you, you're going back to your old behaviors. It takes time to rewire a new process. So once you make peace with the fact that this, this might not be an overnight success, because a lot of people who appear to be an overnight success, you miss the other 10 years of work they were doing to get to that point where they're positioned to become an overnight success. So I think that's kind of the secret, is recognizing that like we're attracted to the idea of quick and easy and fast. But you know what? If it's quick, easy, and fast, everyone's going to be trying it, and there's going to be a lot of competition. And if you're willing to do the hard work and go into like a unique space, you're much more likely to be successsul.
What do you mean I can't be successful in 2 weeks? Like, well, I don't get that part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's well, and look, I get it, because we live in the world, like I said, of instant gratification. Hey, I want to know something, boom. There was a comedian who did a routine on how Google ruins everything, and he basically likened Google to, and smartphones to like a drunk friend in your pocket who ruins everything. Because I think he called it like the beauty of wonder or something like that. Like the beauty of not knowing something and having to go through the process of not knowing and waiting versus just going to go, someone who just shouts it out, right away, and you don't get to experience that moment.
Right. I didn't learn. Yeah. I didn't do anything. I just said, hey, Google, and it gave me the answer.
Yeah. And so, one of the things I tell my clients, whether in mentorship or in nutrition coaching, is I'm your tour guide, not your Sherpa. And a lot of people, they pick up right away what I'm talking about. See, this analogies are amazing for teaching, right? Because you already had a picture in your head, because you've got an idea what a Sherpa is. A Sherpa carries someone's backpack up the mountain when they're climbing Mount Everest. Well, if I carried your backpack, you learn nothing and you don't grow. And
you don't feel the pain, you don't feel the growth, you don't know how hard it was. You don't really enjoy it when you got to the top, because you were just walking all willy-nilly. Meanwhile, the guy in the back is struggling and sweating hard, right?
Yeah. So I say, look, I'll help you. We'll look at your backpack. We'll look at what you're carrying. Maybe you're carrying a bunch of stuff you don't need to. Simplicity is the ultimate in elegance, right? The more complex you make something, the more difficult it is to scale. And so it's, if you have some stuff in your backpack that you shouldn't be carrying, probably I can highlight that for you. I can equip you with some new tools, but ultimately you're going to carry your backpack, and I'm going to be there with you in the journey. Because, hey, look, here's how here's a parallel that I see, like kind of in the world of weight loss and the world of starting a business. When you start weight loss, you're super excited, you're all gung ho, and you see some quick results. But then the reality of setting this up as a sustainable way of living, when you can't white knuckle your way through this, is a little bit more difficult. Well, in business, when you start out, you probably have a little bit of a warm market that you might not even realize at first. But once you've tapped into your warm market, now you have to move into the quote unquote cold market, where people might not be aware that you exist. And you have to start building relationships and forming connections and building trust. And all of this takes time.
Yeah. Week 17, you're like, oh, can I just eat that donut? I'm like, come on.
Yeah. When's cheat day?
I'm like, come on now. It can't be this hard. It's got to be easier than that. Yeah. All right, my friend, it's that time. It's time for rapid fire. We're going to get to know you a little bit more, my friend. So how it works is you're going to give me A, B, C, or D, and I'm going to rapid fire those questions at you. But here's the thing, though. We're going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and you got to answer all those questions within the 2 minutes. You can elaborate, but just remember, you got 2 minutes on the clock, and you got to get all the questions in within the 2 minutes.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's get some music there for you. All right, here we go. So give me A, B, C, or D.
D.
D. Ooh, I don't think I've had D in a long time.
I expect a lot of people choose C.
Yeah, A and C's, and yeah. All right, here we go. 2 minutes on the clock, and the counter starts now. If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
A tiger. They're the most beautiful, graceful animal. They're strong, they're powerful, they're flexible, they're agile, and they're a king of their domain.
Okay, what was the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Probably dried worms in South Africa.
Ooh, okay, we'll come back to that one.
Tastes like sawdust.
Describe yourself in 5 words.
Funny, charismatic, well-spoken, passionate, empathetic.
All right. Tell me the nickname your parents used to talk to you about. What would they call you? Nickname?
John Bon.
Nice. What is your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I think going to Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know if Americans would know that one. Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday, and they had like these robotic gorillas that the robotic gorilla band.
Yep.
Yeah, and the ball pit. You know, I had no idea how disgusting and unhygienic a ball pit was, so I thought it was amazing.
Every kid's swimming in it.
Yeah.
All right. What is something you don't like?
Oh, liver. I've really tried because I think organ meats are really nutrient rich, but just can't do it.
Favorite flower?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I think I actually really like a daffodil. They're very graceful and elegant.
How well are you keeping a secret, 1 to 10?
I'm a 9.5 because I have a lot of secrets from my clients that I keep.
All right. What's your favorite feature?
Of myself?
Yep.
Oh, I think my chin.
All right. 27 seconds left. When are you the happiest?
When I'm snuggling my little boy with morning snuggle time.
Ah, there you go. With 20 seconds left, my friend. There we go. You made it through rapid fire.
Woo!
All right. When we come back, we're going to dive into how do you start the business and what can we do to learn from there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online go to cmjent.com.
Yeah.
Yes, we're back live with the coach. Now, before we went to break, a couple of things that you said, and I love that you said it is family time snuggling.
Yeah.
You remember when you were a kid at Chuck E. Cheese? Let's talk about, it's kind of going off a little bit, but I think it ties in, the childhood memories, how we can grow and learn and how people recollect things to certain things in their life and how we can put that to coaching. Yeah,
well, I think what we don't realize is in the first 7 years of life, that is like the most impressionable years that we live. There was a quote by I think it was a Catholic Jesuit priest. I can't think of his name right now. Maybe Francis Xavier. But he said, "Give me the boy until 7, and I'll show you the man." So what happens in our childhood when our brain is developing is extremely influential over who we become as an adult. And if we're not aware of this, and we have some terrible things happen to us in childhood, that can affect us for years and years to come, which actually lines up with some of the work that I do. We end up, and it's not, I say I'm not a psychological archaeologist, but if we can understand some of these things, we can understand where our behaviors come from. We stop telling ourselves stories like I'm a useless failure. And so I think it's really, really important for us to understand that these experiences that we have, they absolutely shape us and our behavior patterns as we move into adulthood.
Right. Okay. So then when you start the coaching process and online business, what are the steps you have to take? Do you just, go to get a website right off the bat? Do you just start off things? Because like you said, we remember things, we draw things back. Like, how do we start a business?
I think the first thing you might want to figure out is if anyone's interested in what you have to offer. Because there's not a lot of point in because you could have what you feel like is the greatest idea in the world because you're passionate about it and you love it, and that's awesome. But that might just have to stay a hobby if nobody else is interested in it. On the other hand, if you have something, if you can solve a problem for someone, you have a potential business. If you can solve a problem that they're willing to pay to have it solved, then you have yourself a potential business. And so just a little bit of market research to figure out, hey, is this something anybody even wants? I think is most important. But then at this point, I say this is where imperfection, ugly, imperfect action trumps trying to get things right. Don't worry about a website at this point in time. Use free tools first wherever you can, because you want to get money rolling into your business before you start putting too much money out. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in the red really quickly. And so, it's like to run an online coaching business. What do you need? Zoom. So you can communicate with people, maybe like something like Calendly, using the free version of their service, so people can book calls with you, saves you playing a schedule tag, a social media account where you can post your content, pick a platform that's best suited for the type of content you want to create.
Right.
For me, it's Facebook because it's so versatile in the variety of content that I can produce. But pick your platform, maybe a secondary one, that's free of charge. And then you start communicating your message. So it's you don't have to overcomplicate things. You might want to have Google Forms or some other free form making software, so you can do an intake form and some questionnaires, that kind of stuff. But yeah, keep it incredibly simple in the beginning. Once you have money coming in, like, we only introduce complexity when it benefits us, when it makes a process more efficient and creates less work for us.
Okay, so what's the thing? Keep it simple, stupid. I think that's how it works.
Keep it simple, stupid. The KISS principle. You got it.
Yeah, and I wish, and sometimes, like for myself, you learn from that, especially what we do, podcasting, video thing, streaming. You see the new microphone, you see this, you see that. You're only into episode 5, and you went and spent about $1,000 on equipment, and you're only in episode 5. So one step at a time, grow your content, grow who you are, your business. And as you grow and you step up, each client helps you step up to make yourself better and move from there.
Yeah. Here's one of the things I would say to people. Like, we live in the information age. Anything I could teach you is already freely available on the internet if you can find it.
Right.
That's part of the challenge, is being able to find that. But that being said, a lot of people are like, gone to the days of, hey, my super secret email list where I share these secrets and you can't find them anywhere else kind of thing. It's like, no, it's all freely available. Again, it goes back to how can we know and maybe not do? And that's where the human mentorship comes in. But when you're trying to, the best way to show that you can help someone is to actually help someone. And sometimes we're afraid to do that. Oh, if I help them, in a little way, they won't want to hire me. I'm like, well, if they don't believe that you can help them, they're not going to hire you either. So
that's true. That's
right.
That's true.
There's a marketer. His name is Frank Kern. I think he's big in the, maybe not, I don't want to say infomercial space, but maybe info product space. But he calls it like leading with value or results in advance. If somebody can consume your free content and get some degree of results on their own, they're more likely to hire you, because they're like, hey. So for example, I have lead magnets that are like an ebook, and I've got 3 free 7-day challenges that people can take. And so from there, and then I've got my SoloCast podcast as well as my interview style podcast. So all of those help people, and they can consume that for free. But eventually they get to the point where they're like, hey, I've done the best I can. I need more. And now they're ready to step up and invest in hiring me as their coach or their mentor. And
I always said, like, some people would say, oh, don't tell them too much, they're going to take your idea, or don't tell them too much that, they're going to go do it on their own. And I found out there is nobody like you. So you can give them as much information as you want, but they're still not you. So anybody who tries
to copy you is only ever going to be the second best version of you.
Right.
And that's like a great compliment if someone tries to steal what you're doing and copy it. It means you're probably either you're doing something right or they have no idea what they're doing. But either way, they're only ever going to be the second best version of you. Right. And so every one of us carries a unique competitive advantage in who we are, in like being our authentic self. Because again, even in the internet, we're still a part of the humans serving humans business. And that's ultimately what people are looking for. Somebody who will understand me.
One step at a time. Okay. So then, how do you reach out to your clients? Because that's a big thing. For us to reach out to find a guest, and, you're hesitant, and you have to give them this long script about who you are and how you find them, and you're the greatest person. How do you find guests? How do you find your clients to step up?
Well, I think I like the idea of actually clients finding me and reaching out to me, because I think the direct message route, the cold reach out has largely been ruined. And I'm sorry if anybody out there is a fan of multi-level marketing. There's a lot of spamming that happens in that space and has really turned people off of that kind of thing. So my goal is to create content that creates intrigue in people so they want to reach out to me and learn more. And so that's how I use like podcasting, live broadcasting, as well as like an email newsletter and of course posting on social media. So it's in the beginning, you're going to have to do quite a bit of legwork up front because people don't know that you exist.
Right.
Right. But
and
I mean,
can you stop there for a second?
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because people just think, oh, I'll just put this up and they'll come to me. They don't know you. You're not one of these famous actors or something. So you said that you nailed it on the head. You have to show them, present them who I am. Like, I didn't know who you are until I researched you. You sent some things to me. We went back and forth. I'm like, hey, this is a good guy to come on my show. Okay, let's talk about it. But I would have never known who you are until, there's some stuff out there in the research, and then you came on. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands you have to push yourself. Just don't think that your website's doing it, your social media is doing it. You have to push yourself.
So here's a stat that might blow some people's minds. There's more content uploaded to the internet in 48 hours than used to exist in all of human history up to 2003.
Wow.
So now we upload. So when you think about that, that is mind-boggling.
It's just content after content, just keep going.
Right. So you would, now that's, if you try to keep up with that, that's overwhelming and it's impossible, right? You just can't. That's Moraine Lake, by the way, in that photo there. Beautiful, beautiful location in Alberta. And that was actually featured on our $5 bill. I don't know if it still is, but that lake and that mountainscape was featured there. So
there you go. We'll visit that soon.
Yeah. So you have to start putting yourself out there. And being a podcaster or being a podcast guest is one of the great ways of doing it. I love podcasting for getting me connected to other amazing individuals. People are afraid to connect and collaborate. And I say that I don't believe in competition. I believe in collaboration. Why? Because I'm confident that what I do, nobody else can do as well as I can. They might have their own unique gifts. I'm not for everybody, right? There's a certain subset of people who I'm for.
Yep. There you go.
And so collaboration isn't going to hurt me. It's only going to elevate me.
Right. And I like that you, man, Rob, you're just hitting the points that I love for my listeners to listen again. And I'm showing you guys, look, I didn't tell them to say these things. My guests come on, they say all these things, and it is collaboration is key. You got to market, and not everybody is your client. Okay. He said it. Not everybody's going to like it. I like John, but not everybody might not like John and go, John's not the type of coach for me. Okay. But there's billions of people out there. And the thing about it is John is online. So he can get somebody from England, Europe, China, Africa.
Hungary, Australia.
There you go. He can get anybody from around the world that loves John. So business is out there. So I love that you said you're not there for everybody. So don't try to, what's the word, John? Don't try
don't try to be everything to everyone, because then you're vanilla and nobody cares. It's like, if I got a brain problem, I go see a brain surgeon, not a general physician. Right?
He's like, why are you here?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So if you're a general, so here's what I would say to someone who wants to start in the online space. You need to either solve a very specific problem or work with a very specific demographic.
Okay.
Right. Because let's say, I'll use Facebook as an example. I think there's probably still 2 billion users on Facebook.
I think so. Yeah.
I think in a million lifetimes, you couldn't serve those people.
Right.
So in other words, you don't need all those people, right? You only need a few. And in fact, so I live in Red Deer, Alberta, 100,000 people. I could probably find enough clients in Red Deer to serve me for 10 years.
True.
Then I have 2 cities an hour and a quarter away from me that are over 1 million people. I could, I can probably find in just these 3 cities, I could find enough clients to serve me for a lifetime.
Yeah, business is there.
Right. So when we think about that, we realize that, okay, I don't have to make this, again, more complicated. And in fact, even though I'm fully online, a lot of my clients come from Alberta, the province that I live in. And I have a client, I've got a client in Hungary, I've got a client in South Africa, I've got clients in Australia, clients in the US, and it sounds glamorous to say, hey, wow, I've got all these international clients. But I'll tell you, time zones can be a real kicker when you're trying to connect, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but if you focus on being like the best, even in the online space, the best expert in your local area, you already have a competitive advantage, because it's like, hey, you're from where I'm from. And when it comes, I'm going to associate with you more positively just by virtue of the fact that you're from where I'm from.
Right.
And that's not to say don't go out and get clients in other locales and whatnot. But I think we get caught up in the idea or the perceived glamour of being an international business person with clients all over the world. Business exists to make a profit and to earn revenue.
True.
Do it in the simplest way possible.
Absolutely true. All right, my friend. So here's the major thing. Starting up. Take your time. Starting is key. Don't hesitate. Yep. Do what you got to do, and then just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
All right, let's have some fun.
Now time for Pick 3.
It's now time for Pick 3. And what's going to happen, my friend? You're going to pick 3 questions to end the show. You're going to pick your own questions. So give me 3 numbers between 1 and 13. And those are the questions I'm going to ask you before we end our conversation for today.
All right. We'll go with number 4, number 7, and number 11.
11. 4, 7, and 11. All right. What are some great resources that have helped you along the way?
Oh man, I'm just looking at my bookshelf. Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. For anyone who wants to run an online business, you should read this book, Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport.
Hold on, let me blow that up. There you go.
Yeah, you should read this book. It will change how you interact with the internet. And I run an online business, so I think that one is absolutely crucial. James Clear, Atomic Habits, another great book. You're going to find me listing books. Long story short, and here I am just yanking them off my bookshelf. Long story short, if you want to create content that people engage with, use story-based content because people read themselves into it. So get yourself a copy of Long Story Short. I should have like an affiliate link for this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't actually. They're just resources that have helped me.
There you go. Hey, that's something new you can add. See, that's what I'm saying. There's something new right now you can add to your coaching. Say, here's the books I recommend after my coaching is done.
Here's my Amazon affiliate link.
There you go. There you go. All right. Number 7. What is one myth about your industry you want to squash right now?
That you need a magic pill or some fad diet to create results. Now that one's tough because we create all of these nutritional tribes in order to attract people to us.
Right.
But the reality is, they all have something in common. You eat less junk food, you eat more whole food. Probably drink less alcohol, drink more water, sleep more, spend less time on screens. So it really is about a lifestyle. The problem is it's not very sexy to market that way.
No. Yeah, you don't see informational thing about grab this pill now. You could lose 20 more pounds and blah, 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 blah. Compared to, why are you watching this? Just go turn off the damn TV, go to your bed, get some rest in the morning.
Yeah.
That is sexy. Okay.
Not quite.
Number 11. Oh man, this... Okay, I'm going to tell you to pick another number.
Okay.
What are 3 books you would recommend?
Okay, we're going to need another number here because I'm looking at. There's more on my bookshelf. Motivational interviewing, solution focused interviewing.
Give me another number because I think you kind of answered that one already.
All right, let's go with number 9.
Number 9. Okay, where can we listen to you and find you on social media?
Oh, that's easy. So Freedom Nutrition Coaching, you'll find me on all the major socials. I would love it if people tuned into my podcast, Between the Before and After. That's where we tell stories about people who've overcome significant obstacles in their life because we find hope in other stories that we read ourselves into. All
right. And one more time, when's those launching?
Well, Between the Before and After is live. I'm at over 60 episodes. I'm on my way to 100 episodes. I'm going to get that plaque. Podmatch.com, they give you a plaque when you hit 100 episodes. So
there you go. All right. Well, listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And like I always say, you didn't have to watch, but I'm so glad that you did. But here's the thing. What are you afraid of? Jump on. You know what I mean? If you want to do your thing, jump in. But here, grab a coach. Grab this coach. Now, how can you start your thing without you starting with a coaching first? So best person I'm going to recommend right now is call Coach John. He will help you get started because what are we waiting for? Time is money and your money is getting wasted. If you don't got the time, get it started. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great show and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.